You already love your cat. That's not in question. But does your cat actually know it in the specific ways their own brain is built to recognize? Here's the uncomfortable truth. A lot of the ways we naturally show love, hugging, cooing in a baby voice, constant petting, mean almost nothing to a cat's nervous system, and in some cases, they mean the opposite of what we intend. Meanwhile, 6 small, specific actions, most of which take under a minute and cost you nothing, are the actual language your cat's brain is wired to recognize as love. Do them consistently, and something in your relationship shifts, visibly, within weeks. These 6 things aren't guesses. They're built on how cats actually process trust, safety, and bonding. And the 6th one is the one almost no owner does on purpose, even though it might be the single most powerful one on this entire list. Let's start with number 1. 1. Let them choose when contact happens, every single time. This is the one that trips up even the most affectionate owners. You see your cat, you feel a wave of love, and your hand goes straight for them, reaching down to pet, scoop up, or scratch behind the ears before they've had any say in the matter. It feels loving. To your cat's nervous system, it can register as something closer to being ambushed, even by someone they trust. Cats build trust partly through predictability and partly through control over their own physical space. Every time you initiate contact without giving your cat a chance to opt in, you're removing a small piece of that control, even if they tolerate it without complaint. Do this consistently enough, and it can quietly erode the sense of safety your cat associates with your hands, even while they still clearly love you overall. The fix costs you nothing but a half-second of patience. Before petting, offer your hand or a finger at cat height, and let them come the last few inches themselves. If they lean in, rub against you, or angle their head toward your hand, that's your green light. If they don't, respect it and try again later. Do this every single time, and something remarkable happens over weeks. Your cat stops needing to brace for contact. They start initiating it themselves, far more often than before, because they've learned your hands ask first instead of just arriving. 2. Give them 10 seconds of real, focused attention, not multitasking affection. Most owners pet their cat while doing something else entirely, scrolling a phone, watching television, half present at best. Your cat can absolutely tell the difference between distracted, automatic petting and attention that's actually focused on them, and the difference matters more than most people realize. Focused attention, even briefly, involves things your cat can pick up on that distracted attention doesn't. Sustained eye contact, a slower, more deliberate petting rhythm, your body actually oriented toward them instead of a screen. This kind of engaged presence taps into the same social bonding systems cats rely on with each other, the kind of unhurried, fully present interaction that signals genuine social investment, rather than a task being completed on autopilot. You don't need to overhaul your day for this. Once daily, put the phone down, turn fully toward your cat, and give them 10 to 15 seconds of genuinely focused attention, real eye contact, slow, deliberate petting, nothing else competing for your attention during that window. It costs you almost nothing, but it's a category of interaction most cats get remarkably little of, and the ones who get it consistently tend to show measurably calmer, more securely attached behavior over time. 3. Learn and use the slow blink, on purpose, every day. If you've spent any time learning about cat communication, you've probably heard of the slow blink, that gentle, deliberate, eye-narrowing cats use to signal trust and calm intent. What most owners don't realize is that you can initiate it yourself, and doing so daily is one of the most direct, proven ways to communicate affection in a language your cat's brain already understands natively. Unlike petting or verbal affection, which your cat has to learn to associate with love over time, the slow blink taps into something closer to an inherited communication system, one your cat would recognize even without ever having met you before. Researchers studying this behavior found that cats who received a slow blink from their owner were significantly more likely to blink back and approach afterward, compared to a neutral stare. It's a rare case where you're not teaching your cat a new signal. You're speaking one they were already born knowing. Make this an actual daily habit, not just something you do when you happen to remember. Whenever you make eye contact with your cat, soften your gaze, let your eyelids drop slowly, hold for a second, and open them again gently. Do this every single day, consistently, and you're not just having one nice moment. You're building an entire vocabulary of trust that compounds over time, the same way any repeated, understood signal deepens the more consistently it's used. 4. Play with real prey-like movement for at least 5 minutes. A lot of owners play with their cat occasionally, waving a toy around inconsistently, stopping the moment their cat loses interest. But most cat toys, used the way most owners use them, barely register as satisfying because they skip the actual sequence a cat's brain is hardwired to crave: stalk, chase, pounce, catch. Real, satisfying play mimics an actual hunt. Drag the toy away from your cat, not toward them. Let it disappear behind furniture, then dart out unpredictably. Pause completely sometimes, letting your cat's instincts build tension before the toy moves again. When you see their body drop low, pupils widen, tail twitching, that's the sign you've triggered the real thing, not just idle swatting. This matters more than it might seem. A cat who gets a genuinely satisfying hunt-style play session daily isn't just physically healthier, they tend to be calmer, more affectionate, and more securely bonded to whoever provides that experience regularly. Because you're not just entertaining them, you're fulfilling one of their deepest instinctual needs. 5 to 10 minutes is enough, but it has to feel like a real hunt, not a chore you're rushing through. Do this consistently, and you'll likely notice your cat becoming visibly more relaxed and affectionate in the hours that follow, every single time. If any of this is changing how you think about the small daily moments with your cat, tap that like button and subscribe. It genuinely helps us reach more cat owners who want their cat to actually feel loved, not just cared for. 5. Respect their alone time as actively as you offer your affection. This one sounds counterintuitive on a list about showing love, but it might be one of the most important entries here. Cats, even deeply affectionate ones, need real, uninterrupted downtime daily, time without being talked to, petted, checked on, or engaged with in any way. Constant well-meaning attention, even when it's gentle and loving, can quietly remove almost all of that recovery time from your cat's day if you're not careful. A cat who never gets a real, undisturbed break can become subtly worn down over time, even while clearly still bonded to you. The instinct to give more attention feels like the opposite of a problem, but respecting a cat's need for solitude is itself a form of love, one built on understanding what they actually need, rather than what feels good to you in the moment. In practice, this means noticing when your cat retreats to a quiet spot and letting them stay there undisturbed, rather than following to offer more affection. It means having at least one space in your home, a cat tree, a quiet room, a high shelf, that's genuinely understood as an interruption-free zone. Do this consistently, and paradoxically, you'll likely see your cat seek you out more during their active hours, not less, because they trust that closeness with you doesn't come at the cost of never getting a real break. 6. Talk to them like they're already part of the conversation. Here's the one almost no owner does on purpose, even though it might matter more than anything else on this list. Most owners talk to their cats occasionally, a greeting here, a comment there. Far fewer talk to their cat consistently, throughout the day, as though they're a genuine, ongoing part of what's happening in the room. Cats build voice recognition and emotional association through repeated exposure, and the tone, rhythm, and consistency of your voice matters enormously to how safe and included your cat feels in your daily life. A cat who's talked to regularly, narrated to while you cook, greeted by name when you walk in, included in your running commentary about your day, tends to develop a noticeably calmer, more securely attached relationship with their owner than a cat who's spoken to only occasionally. This costs you absolutely nothing except a small shift in habit. Narrate what you're doing sometimes. Greet your cat by name specifically, not just as background noise, when you walk into a room. Let your voice include them the way you might include a quiet family member sitting nearby, even if they can't respond in words. Do this every single day, consistently, and something genuinely changes over weeks and months. Your cat's vocal responses to you often become more varied and expressive, a two-way conversation neither of you fully planned, but one that becomes real anyway, simply because you decided to keep including them in it. Do these 6 things consistently, every single day, and you're not just performing affection your cat happens to tolerate. You're speaking directly in the language their nervous system is actually built to recognize as love, safety, and trust. None of it requires money, and most of it costs you less than a few minutes a day. What it requires is consistency, showing up the same way, day after day, until your cat's entire understanding of you as safe, present, and worth staying close to becomes absolutely unshakable.